Hello and welcome to Who Wore It Better, where we review Raw and Smackdown back-to-back and try and figure out which show won for the week. Well, as you can see, I'm sitting in front of the blue wall once again, which means this episode of Who Wore It Better is on the road. I am back in Oregon visiting family for Memorial Day weekend. I was able to watch both Raw and Smackdown in their entirety, no Hulu versions for me, so you'll get my thoughts on the show and a point will be awarded to the winner for the week. Before I talk about that, though, let's talk about the big story of the week, and that is Smackdown is going to be moving to Fox in 2019. It's reportedly going to be a 5-year, $1 billion deal. That's billion with a B, $200 million a year in this deal, this deal is stupid good for WWE. This is great news for them and for SmackDown. Moving back to Friday nights as well. They're going to be on network TV for the first time since the UPN, CW, My Network TV days of old in the earlier days of SmackDown. Their lead in the night before is going to be Thursday Night Football, and the NFL, even though their ratings have gone down over the last couple of years, still a huge ratings get. So a lot of eyeballs are going to be on that. Seeing the plug for SmackDown, that is nothing but good news for WWE. For all the talk that a lot of fans and skeptics have said over the years, how business is in the toilet and this and that, and there's numbers to show that, but still, this deal here proves that maybe things aren't as down in the dumps with the company as we thought. In a lot of ways, this is good news for the company. The fact that WWE and UFC will be on the same network together, I think can make for some very interesting bedfellows. And also a heads up, this will definitely impact the release schedule of some videos on this channel once this deal happens. And we'll cross this bridge when we get to it, but obviously Who Wore It Better will come out on a different day. I'm thinking, just because me kind of like freestyling here, I think what's going to happen once this change goes into effect, that maybe the Who Wore It Better will not begin Raw and Smackdown, but more like Friday SmackDown, and then the next week into Monday, and then the video for Who Wore It Better will come out that Tuesday. So maybe it won't be a Wednesday release anymore, it'll be more of a Tuesday thing, and the order will be slightly different. I think that'll hopefully make sense. That's just kind of my first draft of what I think is going to happen. But again, we have a long time to think about that, so let's move on to Raw and Smackdown for now. Kurt Angle opens the show, talks for a bit, is interrupted by Stephanie McMahon, who makes her first appearance on TV since the Raw after WrestleMania. Her arm is no longer in a brace. She says that all from WrestleMania is forgiven, which is so nice of her. And she tells Kurt that she will be presiding over the Nia Jax Ronda Rousey contract signing tonight, not Kurt. And then she talks about Roman Reigns for a second. Then the big dog interrupts, and Stephanie and Roman argue for a bit about backstage politics and Brock Lesnar. I will just say for the record now that Stephanie being back did not need to happen tonight, and I'll talk more about it as the show goes on. But they're talking for a bit. Then Kevin Owens interrupts, and he actually thanks Roman for beating up Jinder Mahal last week to the point where Kevin could come in and swoop in and grab that spot in the Money in the Bank match. And there's a funny moment. As boring as this opening segment is, there's a funny moment at least where Kevin puts his arm on Stephanie's shoulder like they're buds, and she stares daggers at him, and if looks could kill, so to speak. So that was kind of a little funny moment there. Good work by the two of them. And so to prove that Stephanie is not playing favorites, she puts Kevin in a match right then and there with Roman Reigns. And I will say, it's a night of rematches on Raw. That's one of the biggest problems with this show, is just all the rematches. This one I think gets a bit of a pass though for me, because this match has not been done in a while, since the last time Kevin Owens was on Raw. So yeah, I think there's enough of a cooling off period between these two having a match. The other matches not so much. I will say one of the biggest highlights for me on Raw the last several weeks has been Kevin Owens and his selling, whether it be against Braun Strowman in previous weeks or against Roman on Monday. Just the way he's bumping for these people, making them look like killing machines. That cannot be understated, how well Kevin Owens is selling for these guys. Before the match ends, Jinder Mahal runs in and beats up Roman for the DQ. Seth Rollins comes in to even the odds, and we have ourselves a tag team match playa. How often have we seen this play out? I will say though, the match itself, the tag match, was very good. Great work by all four guys. Rollins wins the match after the stomp on KO. Then after the match, they're celebrating, and Jinder beats up both Seth and Roman with a chair. And now we have a match set up for next week, Jinder versus Seth for the Intercontinental title. Very interesting that this whole first hour was dedicated to this one overarching storyline. There was the opening promo, which admittedly sucked, but then we went into the Roman and KO match, then into the tag match. That was all for like the bulk of that first hour. So very cool they would devote that much time to a core group of guys like that. Again, the promo was the same old song and dance we've seen before, and I didn't like it, but the wrestling itself was great. So overall, I'd say the first hour was solid for me. But then, so you know how last week when they announced Sami Zayn was going to interview Bobby Lashley's sisters, and I kind of was very cautiously optimistic and saying maybe they'll find comedy gold with this. I was wrong. I was very, 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 very wrong. So Sami Zayn promises to expose Bobby Lashley's lies about how much he loves his sisters. And so he brings out 3 men in drag, one of them still with a full mustache, which I'm sure some people find absolutely hilarious. And I was thinking, as soon as it came out, I'm like, oh my God, it's the old day all over again. It's This Is Your Life with Bayley all over again. We are not in for a good time here, folks. I will say there were a couple of things that made me this thing made me laugh for the wrong reasons. Just the fact that you've got 3 guys in drag. The first guy and the last guy do make some attempt to up the octave in their voice to sound more feminine, and then the guy in the middle of the mustache just doesn't. He just keeps the same register, which I thought was actually, that part made me laugh how little he cared about it. Kudos to Sami for working with what he had. I'd say one of the silver linings about this segment was his overacting, and he's like, oh, do tell. He was very engaged and very interested in this. So then Bobby Lashley in his weird pants come out, and he's all smiles. I'm like, wouldn't you be more upset the fact that Sami's mocking your family? Because first Bobby's coming in, he's all smiles. He's trying to go along with it, trying to take away its power by mocking Sami and saying, oh, you did this great thing for me. He makes fun of the men in drag and everything. But yeah, I think that doesn't register very well. I think in wrestling, I think you need to show more I'm pissed because this guy made fun of my family. That's something we're just used to. For Bobby to come in and be like, hey guys, what's up? That's weird, and it's different, but not in a good way. Sami provokes Bobby to fight, but then Sami and the sisters fight Lashley, but Lashley fights back. I will say that the highlight for this whole segment was the ridiculous bump that one of the sisters took from the spine buster. He got 18 feet of air or something. He was so high up. I audibly popped for that one. That was the only thing that I liked about this whole segment was the bump that one sister took. The crowd died a death during this bit. They did not give a shit about Bobby's comeback because this whole segment just killed the crowd almost for the whole rest of the show. Fuck this segment. What can I say? After the big news of Monday with SmackDown going to Fox and all these eyeballs potentially going to watch Raw on Monday, why would you show this patently stupid gimmick, which is, not going to help anyone's character, and some people might find offensive, the whole idea of making fun of men in drag, haha, transphobia, isn't that always good comic fodder? And it was a very bad segment. It was reminiscent of the old day. It was reminiscent of This Is Your Life. These things that just who allowed this to go on? This doesn't make anyone look good. There's other ways you can build a rivalry without doing stuff like this. I said from the beginning, the idea of Bobby invoking his sisters, how are we supposed to care about him then? And then when they do this, how are we supposed to care about him now? It just doesn't work. On so many levels, it fails to work. This was just very, very, very bad, and is probably one of the worst segments we'll see all year. Moving on from that dumpster fire, we go on to Ember Moon versus Alexa Bliss in singles action. This is a bit of a callback from the night after WrestleMania when Ember Moon debuted and beat Alexa in that tag team match when she showed up for the first time on Raw. So the whole idea now is that Alexa is ready, she's prepared. She brings up the Visigoths and the Romans as an analogy to this matchup, so the more you know. Nice little history lesson there. Mickie James with some overacting near the end of the match where she gets ejected by the referee and she is apoplectic over it, and in that Alexa tries to win but cannot. Ember hits the Eclipse to win the match. So yeah, I think Ember's looked really good the last few weeks here, and getting a win, a singles win over Alexa Bliss, who, as much as I got bored with her as champion, was champion for a long time. That is good for her stock. No Way Jose takes on Baron Corbin in a rematch from a few weeks ago, which Baron Corbin wins as the rules of WWE dictate. This is bound to happen. I'm preaching to the choir. I hate 50-50 booking. We all hate 50-50 booking. It doesn't get anyone over. It doesn't help anybody. Jose had a big win against Corbin a couple weeks ago. So now what? If he loses to him on Monday, what's the plan for him? What's the plan for either of these guys? In another rematch, we have the B team versus Breezango. Battle of the B teams. I did like when they went to the crowd and you saw this couple wearing the handmade B shirts, like what Bo and Curtis had as well. Though there's a part of me after oh, they might have been plants. I don't know. I'm not totally sold on that. If we see a whole crowd of people with B shirts, up in the rafters and stuff, then I will know that the B team movement is officially over like Rover. And the B team wins again, and they celebrate like madmen. They jump up and down. They do the sitting on the chair, the announcer, and rolling down the ramp. That was great. I always love when people do that. So yeah, I'm glad to see the B team winning again. This is getting over. and I like it. I don't know how to feel about their new theme, though. It does not fit their gimmick. I don't know what else you would do for a theme, for a gimmick like that, which is plainly a kind of a comedy gimmick. But like, what theme would you have to get that over? I think Battle Scars doesn't quite work. Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey had the official contract signing for their women's championship match for Money in the Bank. Stephanie McMahon is back again and presiding over the action. And basically, this segment, they're trying to build heat where there is none, because they've established that, Nia and Ronda don't have any quarrel with each other. They've had no feud up to this point. So Stephanie is there to kind of stoke the flames for both sides. Like, she talks to Ronda and brings up WrestleMania and talks about how she doesn't like losing. So what is she going to do? Can she put the arm bar on Nia Jax? And with Nia Jax, you went over on Alexa Bliss. You had this big fight with her, but why did it take you so long to beat Alexa? That sort of thing. So she's really trying to get both women riled up and get their dander up and everything. And Nia and Ronda exchange some tense words, and that's the end of the segment. They sign the contract, and you're done with it. I didn't hate the segment. I didn't think it was great either. It's hard to make a contract signing interesting and earth-shattering, but I think for this segment, it was what it was. It accomplished what it needed to. Stephanie was there. She was there to help progress the storyline and get some heat into it. So at least for that purpose, that was kind of the one thing I think she was good for on this night. She did a lot of stuff in this show where she's like trying to get people to fight each other, like who are friends or people who otherwise wouldn't fight. But like, it's the whole thing where it's like, oh, let's get these people who are threats to us to fight each other. But there's like, what threat is there? Like, the Authority as we know it, the Triple H Stephanie thing, like they're not like, they're not constantly there on TV like they used to be several years ago. So it's like, what is the point of that? I think Stephanie, except for this segment here, the contract signing, she did not need to be there at all the rest of the night. Well, here's a neat idea, a match we actually haven't seen before on Raw. It's Dolph Ziggler versus Chad Gable. I did enjoy the fact that both guys in this match peppered a little bit of amateur style stuff into the match, because it's reflective of their amateur backgrounds they both have. Dolph wins with a headbutt and a super kick. Then after the match, Drew McIntyre comes in and lays out Chad with the Claymore. It's good to see more enhancement and more building for these two guys, in particular McIntyre. I'm really curious to see what kind of stuff we'll see from Drew in the ring and in a storyline perspective long term. I think this is like a vehicle for Drew to get over on the main roster, but I don't think this duo of Dolph and Drew is meant to last long term. A fatal four-way women's Money in the Bank qualifier as Dana Brooke, Natalya, Sarah Logan, and Liv Morgan do battle. Not much to say about this matchup here. The two members of the Riot Squad in the ring try and work together to take out their opponents, but it ultimately costs them. Natalya makes Logan tap out with the sharpshooter, so Natalya is now going to be in. They said after the match, it's her third Money in the Bank match. I had to retrace my memory. Remember, oh yeah, they did a do-over for the women's match on SmackDown like 2 weeks after the pay-per-view last year because of the controversy. We have yet another rematch on the evening, but in fairness, this match is actually fun to watch. It's Elias versus Bobby Roode. Elias wins the match after knocking Bobby off the top turnbuckle, hits him with the drift away and the pinfall. I will say, even though I don't care, I've made a lot of mention in the past how I don't care about Bobby Roode right now in his current role. They are treating him like a big deal and a star. So when Elias pretty much has won the series now between him and Bobby, I can't imagine this going any further beyond this point because it's gone on for over a month now. With Elias having presumably won the series, I think this gives him a lot of credibility. It's a big win for Elias, just in the terms of how they're building Bobby Roode in comparison. So Elias goes up the ramp, and then he's interrupted by an old friend. Let's play that classic tune. Braun Strowman, Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman hates Guitar Man. They have a fight. Strowman wins. Braun Strowman. It's main event time as Braun Strowman takes on Finn Balor in singles action. Earlier in the night, Braun and Finn come up to Stephanie backstage and say, we want a rematch against Dolph and Drew because we had this match last week and then they got the upset win. Stephanie shoots them down because they're not a real team. Like, I'm sorry, when the hell has that ever mattered in wrestling? How many makeshift tag teams have we seen in the years in WWE? Just the last couple of months, Braun won the tag titles with a child. Matt and Bray weren't a tag team 2 months ago, and now they're the tag team champions. What does it matter if Braun and Finn aren't an official tag team? Like, you gotta let these things happen organically. I'm still wrapping my head around Dolph and Drew, honestly, as a tag team. That makes no sense to me. So who's Stephanie to say if Braun and Finn are a tag team or aren't a tag team? Anyway, then she makes the match between the two of them to pit them against each other, and Finn is all smiles. He's like, oh boy, I'm gonna fight this big fucker. Like, shouldn't you at least have a serious look on your face? Like, you know, it's like, who is he? Rocky Maivia? Just smile all the time? Anyway, I'm reading too much into it, but I think the match itself was very entertaining. I think both guys looked very good in it, even despite the size advantage that Braun has. Braun just destroyed Finn in the end with like one standing power slam, then a running power slam to win the match. He even like puts Finn over after the match by like picking him up like a baby and propping him up in the corner without making himself look weak or less than. Like it doesn't cheapen him. It doesn't cheapen his character and his push for like the way he kind of like gives a sign of respect to Finn after the match. So yeah, I think it was a very solid main event. One thing I will say about this match I didn't like was the fact that Braun at one point runs shoulder first into the turnbuckle post. That'd be fine if he was the only one on the night to do it, but we saw it like at least 3 or 4 other times throughout the whole show. You've ruined the impact of that move when everyone is doing it, and it's just like a stand. It's just another move. When I first started watching wrestling, when I saw a guy run on the shoulder post, I'm like, oh my god, that's amazing. But now you see it, and like this. And maybe I need to notice more. I think it does happen a lot every week, but this one especially, this show felt super repetitive in that regard. Before I move on to SmackDown, this week's Who Wore It Better is sponsored by SeatGeek. It's an app you can download on your iOS or Android device that gives you ticket deals for concerts, sporting events, WWE, you name it. The green means it's a good deal, red means it's a not so great deal. But if you want to save money, go download the SeatGeek app using the link in the top of this description. Go to the accounts tab, type in the promo code WREGRET, and you'll get $20 back on your first ticket purchase. Welcome to Worcester, $1.25 please. It's SmackDown opening up with Miz TV and Miz's special guest, The New Day. Miz is trying to ask, who of you guys is going to go into the Money in the Bank ladder match, and they're dodging the question. They don't want to answer. They're toying with Miz essentially, and Miz gets frustrated at them, and then The New Day throw shame pancakes at The Miz, which I thought was hilarious. See, this is how you do an opening segment, Raw. This is how you open a show in an entertaining, fun way. I really enjoyed this opening segment here. You get The Miz coming back, the gorilla position, Paige stops him and makes him go back out to wrestle a member of the New Day. It's Big E. One thing I will say about that segment as well is I think they planted more seeds about the inevitable future breakup of the New Day whenever that happens. Just the language they were using, how Miz is saying that they're holding each other back. It's not something you hear very often anyone say about them. So they're doing that a little more and more now. They're teasing it. I think they're planting those seeds. And those seeds will eventually sprout, but really who knows when the harvest will come for the New Day breakup. Anyway, Big E versus Miz. The match ends when the Bar come in to beat up Xavier and Kofi on the outside. In the distraction, Miz hits Big E with a skull-crushing finale to win. And so, will we see a 6-man tag team match next week? Oh yeah. We get a women's Money in the Bank qualifier as Lana takes on Billie Kay of the Iconics. Kind of weird to see Lana in the ring. In her first, I can't remember the last time she had a televised match. So for her to be in this match here, just kind of, even though they said it was happening last week, it still seems kind of out of nowhere, doesn't it? Aiden English is at ringside with Lana holding up a Lana Day sign. As the match begins, it's barely a match. The Iconics get in Aiden's face, and then Lana slaps Billie Kay in the face. Back in the ring, face buster, even though they don't land at the same time. Lana wins and advances to Money in the Bank. So if we use the same logic of transitive property that the Iconics used about how they're better than Asuka, that means Lana is better than Asuka because she beat Billie Kay. This is madness. Andrade Cien Almas takes on a tall drink of water in a squiggity squash match. Poor bastard doesn't even get a name. Poor guy. Then afterward, we go backstage to see Carmella cutting a promo on Asuka. She takes off the Asuka mask to reveal it's her for maximum heat zors. And then she uses, I was joking about the transitive property thing before with the Lana thing, but that is something the Iconics talk about in their promos. And then you've got Carmella doing the same thing where she's better than Asuka because she beat Charlotte twice and Charlotte beat Asuka at WrestleMania. So it's not only repetitive to see two different sets of heels use that same shtick or logic to justify why they're better than so-and-so. The fact that both sets of heels are saying they're better than Asuka is not good for Asuka. Like, yes, we know she's dominant, but on SmackDown she's been anything but. I'm not predicting things are going to go well for Asuka at Money in the Bank. Some shenanigans are going to happen that cost her the match or something. So it's like, yeah, and like I hate to be one of those people. I'm not going to say the sky is falling with Asuka, but what a huge just like turnaround it's been. When she is the bee's knees, she is treated as like a demigod among women, and then all of a sudden she moves to SmackDown and she's like, meh. AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura have a face-off. What will the stipulation be for their match at Money in the Bank? They have a chat. They have a brawl. Shinsuke beats down AJ and counts to 10 by himself. He announces it's going to be a last man standing match, which should be a good one, I think. I think that Shinsuke looks very strong in this segment, but AJ did make a point in his promo that Shinsuke can't win when it counts. So I'm really curious to see who's going to come out on top in this match. I think the matches, like if last week's match is any indication, the quality of their matches has gotten better incrementally over time. So hopefully this match, if it is the blow-off, I'm hoping it will be the best of the bunch. The Uso brothers take on the Good Brothers to see who will face the Bludgeon Brothers for the tag team titles. Good match here. The Anderson and Gallows win with the Magic Killer. It's a much-needed win for these guys because these guys are kind of floating in the ether on Raw. They had a brief hint of relevancy when they were with Finn Balor as part of the Balor Club, and then they got moved to SmackDown. They've been kind of like treading water for a long time in the tag scene across both shows. So this is a big win for them. I'm curious to see what they do with the Bludgeons. Naomi, remember her? She won the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal back in April, and they've done diddly dick with her since. Well, she's back against Sonya Deville in a Money in the Bank qualifying match. It's Sonya's second qualifying match here, and she, like the previous one, she does not come out on top. Naomi wins with a roll-up. I thought it was a really good match here by these two, but yeah, just what's the plan with Naomi? I feel like, even though they don't talk about Matt Hardy winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal that much, at least like something has come of it. He's on television. He is a tag team champion right now. So it's like things have happened with him. I think they've done more with him in this time period than like Cesaro, for example, when he won the thing. So with Naomi being the first WrestleMania Battle Royal winner, women's one, you'd think they would talk about that a little more. Not so much. Main event time as Jeff Hardy takes on Daniel Bryan for the first time ever. The winner of this match will face Samoa Joe the next week for a Money in the Bank qualifier match. And Joe is on commentary in this match, does a great job putting over both guys in the ring while also putting himself over. He's still saying he's going to beat no matter who wins this matchup, but he's a very good job like putting both guys and complimenting their stuff in the ring. It's a very entertaining match here. Jeff goes for the swanton at one point and Daniel puts the knees up, and that looks just like the most brutal way to take kind of right on the knees. Daniel wins with the heel hook, the same move he put on Big Cass the previous week, and so Jeff taps out to it. It's like, it's an interesting kind of a redirection, because the yes lock is the move that is the one that's over, it's the one that's established. That's the move that Daniel was winning a lot of matches with, and now they seem to be transitioning into this heel hook finisher, which I think over time it can get over just as well. But it's interesting they made that move, and it makes you wonder why they went and did that. Maybe it's like maybe because a lot of Daniel Bryan's offense to the head and arm area is all based on him giving himself concussions. So maybe they're going to do something a little more leg-based. Those are my kind of off-the-cuff observation. But yeah, Daniel Bryan wins. Samoa Joe talks some trash to him. And now we get that match next week, which I'm very excited for. Time now for me to decide which show won for the week, Raw or SmackDown. This week, there's really no discussion. It's got to be SmackDown winning again this week. Now, on Raw, if the Sami Zayn, Bobby Lashley's sister thing was the only bad part of Raw, I might have considered giving them the win, because ultimately, like, there's enough dumb stuff in that thing that made me laugh. So it's like, okay, it's stupid, but it's like it's not a deal breaker. However, it was not the only bad thing about Raw. There were other problems with it as well. I think, like I said, Stephanie being there did need to happen, just made the show more grating to me. I think that Jose versus Corbin, one of the many rematches we had on that show, I'm kind of tired of both of them now. They've in record time made me not care about No Way Jose since he's coming to the main roster. But I did like some, like I said, the whole first hour of wrestling. If you lose the opening promo and you just go from Roman and Kevin to that tag team match, that was great. The B team, again, I'm still very much team B team. And I hope they have all the success in the world. I hope this gets really over. And Braun and Finn, I think, was a very solid main event match. Meanwhile, on SmackDown, I enjoyed the opening segment with The Miz and The New Day. I thought that was great stuff there. Usos and Gallows and Anderson was a good match. The main event of Hardy and Bryan was very entertaining to watch. The one knock I'd have on SmackDown this week is I think they played it too safe. I think, they got a lot of storylines progressed and a lot of characters over, but I think that just in general, they didn't do anything that was like, wow, you have to see this thing that happened on SmackDown. You have to go on YouTube or DVR and catch this thing. Although I will take a safe show with quality matches that are new and fresh over a show like Raw, which not only had this horrifically stupid thing with Sami and the sisters, and not only that, but also these just rematches we've seen time and time again. Even though there was really no truly bad matches on Raw, there's just all these matches we've seen before, and like we gotta have something new, we gotta have something fresh. So SmackDown wins the day on the fact that they had fresh matches and they at least didn't do something stupid like having men in drag. Let me know what you guys thought about Raw and SmackDown this week in the comments section below, and be sure to vote which show you thought was better in the gimmick in the upper right hand corner of your screen. Be sure to thumbs up this video if you like it, subscribe to Wrestling with Regret, buy the t-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com, and check out Patreon.com/WrestlingWithRegret for exclusive perks and bonus content. I'm Bryan Zayn, and I'll see you next time.